What's going on, guys? WhiteFox1225 here with another video, and today we're talking about Far Cry Primal. Got some really cool details, and we got to check out some gameplay from the actual game, so a lot to talk about, some new details about animal followers, some like attacks and combat, and just overall how the game's looking right now. So we're going to give you all the details that we know so far. So the gameplay demo starts off with a tribe being attacked, then it kind of flashes forward to farther into the game, so we don't get too much of a look at the story, but we do get to see a lot of the gameplay, and that's what we're going to talk about mostly in this video. So let's start off with the animal companions in the game. So the character can tame wild predators, so you can tame up to like 14, I think. So in the gameplay demo we saw you tame a wolf. Right now it looks like you kind of sneak up to the animal and you kind of just hit a button and offer it some food. It looks pretty easy. Maybe they're going to change that in the future, but right now it does look pretty simple. But anyway, you're just going to offer them some meat, and basically they're just your companion, and you can summon them whenever you want, and you can, at any time switch between them. So your companion is going to help you in battle. You can send them to attack people. You can also send them to attack other animals when you're hunting. And they're just going to follow you and protect you and do whatever you say. So different animals do have different abilities. So for example, you can summon a wolf, and that wolf is going to growl to alert you when enemies are coming up. But you can also summon a jaguar, which is really good for stealth. And so depending on the scenario, you're going to want different animals. And you can only have one animal open or available at one time, but like I said, you can switch them out. So when you're going into a battle scenario, you're going to want to think about, what do I want? Like the cave bear is kind of like a tank, but if you're trying to stealth into like a base, probably not the best option. You're probably going to want to go with something like the jaguar, but there is a bunch of variety in the animals, so you're going to find one for the right scenario no matter what. So you can also ride a bunch of animals. We saw in the gameplay you could ride a mammoth, kind of like how you could ride an elephant, but they said the mammoth isn't the only one you're going to ride. And just like Far Cry 4, you can do attacks while you're on the animal, so you can, run someone over with a mammoth, which is always fun. Another thing we saw is that your character can summon an owl, and that owl kind of does recon for you. It can tag enemies, kind of like the camera could in the other Far Cry games. And he can also command your beast from up there, but he can also do stuff like drop fire bombs. So, if you're scouting a place, you're definitely going to want to use the owl. Seems like a really useful tool. It kind of does like a hand call, and then the owl appears, but you can do some aerial attacks, and your owl can actually just go and attack someone and kind of claw their face off. So the owl is definitely useful, and for aerial strikes, it's pretty much essential to use in the game when you're scouting out an area. Let's move on a little bit and talk about the combat we saw. It looks really good. There's a bunch of different weapons. Obviously no guns or anything like that because it is prehistoric. But we saw a double bow, which is a bow with 2 arrows, which looked awesome. We saw a spear, we saw a club. We saw in the game he threw a beehive at someone and bees swarmed that person. So definitely they're being a little creative, and we have quite a bit of weapons to work with, and also all the animals and stuff. So the gameplay does look like it's going to be entertaining, even though we have less weapons obviously because it is prehistoric. Now takedowns are also going to return, so you can still sneak up behind someone and do a classic Far Cry takedown. Other than that, combat looks kind of the same. We're still going to have outposts, but now they're called bonfires, and those are the places that you can take over, and then you're going to be able to spawn at those places. The map is still kind of fogged over when you get in. However, there are obviously no radio towers, so you're just going to be able to discover the map just by running through it and exploring, which I think is definitely a better way to do it anyway. So last up, let's talk about hunting. So you can send your animal to attack, your prey. You can set up traps unlike other Far Cry games. And you can also do stuff, like use your spear. They said hunting is a lot more in-depth in this game than other Far Cries, and it's also going to play a bigger role because you're going to have to gather materials just like the other Far Cry games. We're also going to need to find food to survive and heal yourself. So it is going to be a little bit bigger part of the game. But that pretty much does it for the video, guys. We'll continue to cover Far Cry Primal as we get more news, so make sure you guys stay tuned if you want to see more. If you do want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you guys want to see anything in the future, leave it below in the comments. If you guys want to check out my Twitter and Instagram, it's in the description below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.